Hello, welcome to today's lesson. We are on page 26 of the keyboard Musicianship Book 1, and we are going to be discussing a simple waltz. This piece here introduces us, or it applies, the staccato articulation. So we should already be familiar with the staccato articulation from our 5-finger exercises. Just as a reminder, when we play staccato, we want to bounce off the keys at the wrist and not at the hands this way, but this way. Okay? Maybe remind yourself a little bit by playing the 5-finger exercise number 1, staccato. Okay, so we see here that we are in 3/4 time, and both staves are bass clef. So we have to be prepared for reading both in bass clef. The first thing you want to do is to prepare your score. Take your pencil and write where the lifts need to happen. A big one right there, obviously, at the end of measure number 4. We also want to put a lift right here. And check this out. This system here is actually one of the most difficult we've ever encountered before. It looks simple, but it's actually a little bit challenging. And so we have a lift right here, a lift right here, and then a lift right here. So we have 3 lifts, plus that one there at the end. And then here at the end, we have one right there. These are just courtesy slashes to remind us where the lifts happen, because this is going to be a lot of legato and non-legato, and then of course the staccato happens at the end. One thing we want to keep in mind is, I know it says to have staccato here within the slur, but we're going to just ignore that for today. Once we get more advanced, we'll discuss staccato within a slur. Okay, let's go ahead and start off by clapping the rhythm on our lap. Here we go. This is in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then there's a repeat of the same top system again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, release. So you may notice that there is either a melody or a counter melody, or a sub-melody. I guess you could also say it that way. I'm going to say that the main melody starts with the left hand in the first system. Let's go ahead and say those note names. Your hand position is C position. And this is all legato for the first 4 measures. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. C, F, C, F, E, D, G, D, G. And then, of course, that should be louder than the accompaniment, which happens to be a single line of music also. So that's why we're going to call it a sub-melody. And let's go ahead and play that right hand part. 1, 2, 3. A, 2, 3. Tie, 2, rest. B, 2, 3. Tie, 2, 3. Another thing I also failed to mention is take your pencil and write in the occasional fingering. And this is just as a reminder for you of where to play so-and-so. So if you have a point where you think you're going to need a fingering, please write it in. We may talk about that as we go throughout this video. Okay, once you have both hands secure for the first system, and as a reminder, the first system applies to the third system because it is exactly the same. So please treat them both the same. Okay, let's go ahead and put both hands together now that we are comfortable with one hand at a time. Remember, the left hand is going to be louder than the right. Please remember to observe your lift at the rest there on the measure 2. Ready? Both hands in position. Your right hand there is in A position, all white keys. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, release. Very good. Let's now take a look at the next system. This is the most difficult one here. We're going to go ahead and read the left hand first, since it is the most difficult. Okay, so the left hand starts with F, finger number 2. If you need to write a finger number 2 there, go ahead and write 2. Maybe a 3 right there at the end, or 1 there with G. Okay, now take a look that this dotted half note, F, is slurred to an E, which means that as a 2-note slur, you bring your wrist down, F, 2, 3, E, 2, lift. So let's go ahead and talk about that. We're going to say the notes first. 1, 2, 3. F, 2, 3, E, 2, F, G, rest, F, E, 2, 3, release. So as you can see, we do have quite a few lifts there for the left hand. Let's go ahead and go over that again. Once again, apply your 2-note slur technique by dropping the wrist, play the second note, and then slowly lift and release after beat number 2, because the second note is a half note. Ready? 1, 2, 3. F, 2, 3, E, 2, lift, F, lift, G, rest, F, lift, E, 2, 3, release. We're going to go over that just one more time because this is very essential. 1, 2, 3. F, 2, 3, E, 2, lift, F, lift, G, rest, F, lift, E, 2, 3, release. Okay, so remember, there is a difference between a lift between 2 quarter notes, or a half note and a quarter note, and a quarter note with a rest, with the quarter rest in between. Okay? It may sound a little longer for the quarter note and the quarter rest next to it. May not. It depends. Okay, now let's go ahead and go over the right hand part. So for the right hand, we have our A position once again. This is all legato. There is a moment, though, where we have a quarter rest, and that's the third measure of that second system. However, take a look at this. The melody is now in the right hand. Do you see this G right here on the third measure with a line pointing to the next note? Well, because they're both in bass clef, the melody actually goes from here, it goes down to that note, and then it goes back up to that note. So for a moment, you're going to do a legato from here to there and then back up. Let's go ahead and try that out. But we're not going to play that note, however. We'll play until we play with both hands together. We're just going to say rest. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. A, C, D, C, A, rest. A, B, C, 2, 3, release. Once again. A, C, D, C, A, rest. A, B, C, 2, 3, release. Okay, now the big moment here. Now you may need to apply the freezing technique for every beat in order to play this well. Let's go ahead and do it very slowly. C position, A position here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. A, C, D, C, A, G, A, B, C, 2, 3, release. Now I did emphasize the lifts for the left hand just so you can see them. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. So remember the legato melody, mostly in the right hand, except for that G right there, which is played by finger number 1. Let's go over just one more time. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. The next next system is the same as the first. Let's go ahead and go over that one. And then the last system is similar to the second, but it is a little bit of a difference. Let's go over the left hand first with the lifts. F, 2, 3, E, lift, F, C, D, E, F, 2, 3, release. Okay, and so as you can see, on the third measure of that system, we have 3 staccato notes. And don't forget to lift and bounce off the keys. Lift at the wrist. C, D, E, F, 2, 3, release. Once again, F, 2, 3, E, F. Now this F here, non-legato. F, C, D, E, F, 2, 3, release. Try not to accent any of these notes. There may be the little bit of a temptation after playing that E, but make sure to just play it normally. Now for the right hand, similar also. It does have those repeated legato notes. As I mentioned, we're just going to ignore the staccatos. Those are to be approached differently, but we'll do that once we become a little more experienced with piano playing. Once again, here we go, the last system. 1, 2, 3. A, C, D, C, A, C, 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 A, 2, 3, release. And you may have to play very slowly when you do the staccatos and the repeated notes there at that system, or that measure. Let's go ahead and put both hands together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, release. Let's go ahead and put it all together. Please remember to use metronome, not until after you are comfortable. Remember practicing one hand at a time, many times, putting both hands together slowly, applying the freezing technique, and once you've gone over it many times correctly, then use metronome at the very last. 1, 2, 3. And there you have it. Please remember to practice well, and we will see you next lesson.